All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the New York session. What are we at? 9:26. Call it 9:27 in 3 seconds. It's great to have you here with us. We are live on stream and checking out what's happening here. A little bit of movement, finally. We had a very quiet London session this morning, very profitable session. I only had one real trade. I had another one that was actually, one was break even, another real trade that I actually didn't like the entry on, and I did a video on it. Ended up making money, but that was it was a weak entry, and I shouldn't have taken it. And I talk all about that in the video. I forget what the video is called now, but I think it's called Self-Talk or something along those lines. But it was about a +9 or +8.5 point winner. Anyway, we've had a very lucky streak in the last, week and a half, 2 weeks or whatever, and that's not going to last forever. This kind of movement just happens to suit my style and my approach to scalping, and so it's been a good streak. But I promise you, we will sometimes take 3, 4, even 5 losses in a row, certainly break-evens in a row. And you saw one of those break-evens here this morning as we protected the downside, as prices then did in fact reverse shortly thereafter. So it worked, and often does. Sometimes they run away on us, but that's okay. You'll see some movement here now in the pre-market. The market hasn't opened yet in New York officially. Of course, the futures are very much open, and why we can trade them during London. But we're at 9:28 and 16 seconds, so we got a bit of time to go here. For those who are joining us for the first time, very quickly, we do things very simply here now after many years in the game. This is a 10-minute chart of the NASDAQ on the left-hand side, and it's a 1-minute chart of the NASDAQ on the right-hand side. So 10-minute left, 1 minute right, and that's about it. These charts are pretty much naked, some support and resistance zones. If you joined us for the London session this morning, it'll be on YouTube, the video, where I actually start with naked charts and then draw the zones out and show the viewers exactly how I think about zones and how to draw them. We draw them out together and then we trade them live in that session. So please check that one out if you want to know how I draw zones. Very simple stuff, guys. It's just a matter of repetition. And now that I've done it hundreds of thousands of times in the last 33 plus years, it's become second nature. I actually don't need these zones. I'm doing that for viewers. I sometimes do it for myself too, just to give me, when I feel particularly lazy, and that's not very often, but when I do, it's just I can just glance at the chart and know exactly what perspective I have. Notice that candle rejecting now. That's a typical pre-New York movement. Right? A little false action, false breakout to the downside, and then reversing very, very quickly. We'll see what the actual New York has to offer us, which I think will be some more chaos, quite frankly, and some flurry activity. The other screen we do look at is only one other screen. It's this one. I only look at it occasionally. These are what I call the three sisters, 3 main U.S. indices. There's the NASDAQ on the far left, the one we're trading today. These are 1-minute charts, as you can see down here at the bottom of the screen. The middle one is the Dow, and the one on the far right is the S&P 500. So NASDAQ, Dow, S&P. New York is now open. There's the explosion on the open that we often see. I'll take you back to the main screen, and we'll check out and see what's happening here. There's key resistance above here, folks. Way over here. Remember that high? There was a gap move in here indicated by that red arrow. That was actually when futures were pretty much closed, so it's not a legitimate gap. There actually was no trading happening here on the futures contract. But look at that candle. We're getting some push now. I ignore this, quite frankly. I don't typically trade in the first 10 minutes of the session. And that's this candle you see. And you can see why already. See that quick push up, false security for the longs, and now then a reversal. Now sitting in the middle of that candle. That candle so far spans an amplitude of 24 points, right? Quite a move. With yesterday's, I believe, was about 70 points. Don't quote me on that, but I seem to remember that. It might have been the day before on Friday. But here we are on Tuesday. It's Tuesday, November 1st. It's a new month, and that also can do interesting things with these opens as institutions do things like rebalancing and rejigging their portfolios for monthly performance figures and so on and so forth, which we won't talk about today. And look at this candle now. Remember that? How bullish that was just a few seconds ago? It's not bullish anymore. This is a blue candle. And on my chart coloring, blue candle means a down candle. So imagine those scalpers and day traders who are jumping in and jumping out, trying to navigate this thing right in the open, really just gambling, as we all are in trading, to be quite accurate about it. Really just blind gambling on that open, if in fact trying to scalp these moves, and that's why I don't do it. We still have basically 8 minutes left to go. We've only had 2 minutes of action, and all of this has happened already. All of that. A very, very bullish candle, very bullish, turning to a very, very bearish candle. And that's all happened in 2 minutes and 20 seconds now. Interesting times. So we're going to watch this. You'll see that I do have support and resistance zones, as I mentioned. These were drawn earlier before the session. The original ones, back here, were drawn in the London session, just still during Asian session, very early this morning. And we did that live, as I mentioned. You can watch me do that on the video that's posted to YouTube. Encourage you to join YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the notification button. I hate it when people say that all the time, but the reason I say that is because we do produce an incredible amount of content, sometimes 3 to 5 or 6 videos a day, and so to be notified of those timely videos it could be a pretty cool thing. Started the YouTube channel just about 3 weeks ago now, and I have nearly 100 videos. It's got to be a record of some sort, I would think. This candle is now doji, by the way, sitting in the middle of itself. The span or the amplitude of that candle was 24 points. It's now 43 points on that 10-minute candle. That's a big move. If you can take 20 to 30 points out of the NASDAQ a day, you can do exceptionally well and build real wealth from that. But if you're being whipsawed in and out of that 40-point candle, you can lose wealth, but you can erode your wealth very, very quickly as well. Doji, indecision. Look at that. Completely balanced. There's an equilibrium between the buyers and the sellers, the bulls and the bears, the longs and the shorts. And we'll see how long that continues here before we get some real direction. Just checking in with my group here on Telegram. Encourage you to join the Telegram group. It's free. Everything we do here is free. We have 94 members in just over 2 weeks, and building a great community of like-minded individuals, traders, who think very similarly or want to learn. And we have some very accomplished and seasoned traders on the part of the group as well. They may have been drawn to the fact that I'm old initially, but now are very much sharing a lot of their ideas, and it's amazing. It's amazing to have them in the group. I'm going to give my voice a break here for about a minute or so as I check something on my screens. I want to see if this live stream is in fact coming through. I am recording it too, so it's okay if it's not, but I prefer if it is. I believe it is. I'll check that chat window, and maybe somebody will type that they can hear me and so on. That would be helpful if you're there, folks. All right, still 5 minutes left to go. Can you believe that? All that talking and all of that activity. This candle is now still completely balanced. And hello, Czar, and everyone watching. Awesome. John Paisley in the house, a very accomplished trader, and has been a great help and a support and endorser of what we're doing here at Zerillion, and really appreciate him. Let's Play Footsie. Jay is also here, also been a tremendous support, and I think a good friend and colleague of Jono's, as a matter of fact, and again, like-minded individuals, all part of the game. All right. So far, nothing for me here, as has been the case for about a week and a half. Quite frankly, we haven't taken many trades on the opens. Most of our trades, if not all of our trades lately, have been during the session on range expansion and confirmation with conviction of moves. We are not seeing that this morning. We just had a move that looked like we were going to explode to the upside. We are now collapsing to the downside, but still within the opening range. The opening range for me is that first candle, which we're still in. It's now become a very wide opening range. It's this one here, as you can see me mark out now on the charts with this red marker. I believe that's red. I am colorblind, but I've been told that's red, and so I'm just going to trust. I'm now going to delete one of the zones I have here in the middle of that range. I'm going to really clean this up because we don't need that one anymore. It's been nullified by this incredible whipping action of this first candle. So it's gone. Hey, there's Jan. Or Jan, I believe I pronounced it correctly. If it's the Jan I'm thinking of, great to have you here in the live chat as well. Awesome. Jan is a member of our Telegram group as well, and also shares tremendous charts and ideas and asks great questions. All right, 2 minutes and 45 seconds still left in this first candle. And unless we get a convincing break outside of this initial candle or this zone, I'm not interested. There's nothing for me until that happens. Because this market is in ranging mode, it's in indecision mode. I'm going to take you back now to the sisters grid. Remember the three sisters? Now look at this. You'll see this. How we have basic synchronicity between these three markets. Dow's doing a little something different as it often does. Only 30 stocks in that industrial index. Whereas the others, of course, NASDAQ has 100 representation. S&P 500, I think, is fairly self-explanatory. A much broader based benchmark. All right. All of them trading basically near or at the opens, and above the London Open still. All of them. That blue line is the London Open. The blue line is the London Open. I know we see a yellow dash, but because of the time change, that's not coming out today, and I'll get that fixed up for tomorrow's session. Take you back to the main screen and the main stream. Did I say that 5 or 6 times? Again, nothing for me here. And this might look like it's been, the last week and a half or so. I'm actually contemplating not even having the live streams for London and New York, and maybe moving to a later in the session stream so that we can trade this thing live, or just send signals, it's not signals, but send ideas to our Telegram group in advance, and then share the videos of those trades. I'll talk to the group and get their opinion as well. Because the last thing I want to do is waste people's time if this is the kind of opening action we're going to have for the next little while in the current bear market environment that we're in. So being brand new to this whole streaming thing, I know a lot of other streamers do stream the open, but they do some things a little bit differently and don't mind sitting around for 2 hours or more until something plays out. That's not something that appeals to me, given that I'm managing a whole bunch of people here as well. Our inner circle that's growing very rapidly, as well as my life. So we'll see. I'm going to do this the most efficient way, the most optimal way, where everybody can get the most benefit and the most learning, more importantly. This is not a signal service, and so my idea and my goal is to teach people how to fish and different ways to fish, along with their own ways, of course, and then so that they don't need to see anything live, because they can, watching a recording is equally as instructive, and then having ideas sent ahead of time on the live Telegram group. Again, guys, if you want to be a part of that, please join the group. We'd love to have you. No charge for anything that we do here. We just share for the love of the game, as I know Jono on the chat does as well, has been for a very long time, just because he loves to trade and share and teach, and that's what we're doing here at Zerillion as well. I have a cat. His name is Pickles. We've had him for about a year. He's 2 years now. I guess he's 2 years old. And he's outside my office door, which is closed. And he's knocking on the door and meowing, trying to get in. He's the cutest little guy. And I didn't want to get a cat, but I was convinced by the rest of my family to get him. And now I think I love him more than anybody else does. They love him too. But I'm a little bit of a sucker for animals, and I get a little too attached, I think. He's a good boy, but he likes to get up with me super early in the morning and then chase me around and follow me around and come and sit on my lap when I'm trying to trade. But I'm glad I have them. All right, so we're into a new candle here, guys. I didn't even mention it. It was just almost 2 minutes ago, but it's doing the same thing as the first candle. So nothing going on here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to probably shut the stream down, but I will tell you what I'm looking for. And then you can come over to the group, and I'll send ideas ahead of time there as I see things materialize here, if they do. And I think they will. I think we get range expansion later on today. I think we have to. But if prices break down into the zone below, or the one below that, or the one below that, or the one above, then I get interested. If we see a convincing 10-minute close into one of those ranges, then a top wick or a bottom wick if it's to the downside, and then a wick on the next candle, and then a break of that trigger candle, I'd be interested in looking at a short or a long position, depending on what zone we're in. We might get a bit of movement here. Let's see if this thing can break down. It might. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is looking more promising now. I'm going to stick around just for a couple minutes here and see. Oh, and we're back into the range. All right, so I see the game this thing's going to play, but you've heard now what I'm looking for. To watch our other videos, and you'll see me doing this. You'll see me doing it live. You'll see me doing it on recordings and trading this thing. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, sometimes we take break evens, but overall we're very profitable because we stick to a methodology and we protect the downside, and that's absolutely critical in everything that we do. I want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jay, Justine, and the gang. Appreciate it. And we will talk to you tomorrow in London or in New York or later on today. I'm sure we're going to get some trades here later in today as things expand. Take care, guys. Thanks again. Have an amazing day.